Hey, good morning, you beautiful people. Kai here. Now, today we're talking all about the one reason you should be going to college, and it's not about the best majors, it's not about the worst majors, it's actually why you should be paying for a college education. And if you're not doing this one thing, honestly, college is not worth it at all. But before we do that, we got a couple things we got to take care of. I gotta clean out that garage. If you guys watched my last video, I got a wooden pellet stove. And the reason behind that is because I'm trying to get this house behind me here down to 0 expenses each month, and that pellet stove is gonna help. But I do have to fill up this garage with about 50 bags of 40-pound pellets. And then after that, I gotta clean some pretty nasty stuff for the rental. We're gonna spray the property because there's blackberry bushes coming in, taking over the garden and everything. And then I gotta do some touch-up paint in the back before the rain hits. And then a bunch of stuff like taking out trash, dropping stuff off for Amazon, all this stuff. Let's go. All right, I gotta go wash this. But do you think being financially free is glamorous? Check this stuff out. Gotta wash these, wash that, and wash a hairy drain. Time to do one of my most hated things around the property is getting ready to spray. It's just nasty stuff. I gotta put on this protective gear, and it takes me a while because I got 7 acres. I spray probably half of it, and it takes a while, but gotta get it done. All right, had to change, but just wrapping things up for the rental for our next guests that are coming in tomorrow. I gotta air out the place here, and I'm gonna start the ozone machine here to make sure that we clearly sanitized or fully sanitize this place. Look what I actually stepped on. Sometimes living out here in the country has its drawbacks. It's kind of gross, just had this place clean, and now I have to clean up a dead smushed up slug. So as I was saying earlier, it's not all the glitz and glam of being financially free. Just remember, you're always gonna have responsibilities, whether you have a lot of money or a little money. It's just your responsibilities shift. And if you run out of responsibilities, something's going wrong in your life. But let's get back to what we were originally talking about college, and if it's worth the money, and especially you students out there who are either 18 years old or maybe you're 38 years old and wanting to continue school. The thing is that there's one reason why that I was alluding to at the beginning of this video, and that one reason is that you should not be going to college to try to get a job or to even start or build a career. The reason behind that is because, as you guys can see in our current societal norms, our economy, is that things shift. Things that used to be popular or very good careers, they go out the door or go out the window, and they're no longer valuable to society. So with all that yammering, what I'm trying to get to is don't focus on the career or job. That should not be your primary focus when you're going to school, especially if you're about to pay, what, $50,000, $100,000 for an undergraduate degree, and another 50 to another 100+ thousand if you want to decide to get your master's or your PhD. What you should be doing is you should be focusing on building 3 skills. And you can do this in a variety of ways, and I've often found that in the best environments is a college environment and then also at home or out in the field. That's the only time that I see college really worth it. But even then, it's a stretch if you don't actually focus in and develop 3 good skills. And let's talk more about that. But first, I'm gonna go back up to the studio, but I need to change out some light bulbs real fast. So let's go do that real quick and then head up to the studio, and let's talk more about those 3 skills and what I really mean to get the most out of your college degree. And if you're currently in school, this is the perfect thing that you guys need to focus on before you graduate. Don't graduate with just a degree and a bunch of debt. It sucks and you'll regret it. All right, let's go. If you guys have recessed lightings at your rentals or even at your own home, don't get the ones that look like this with these stupid little tabs. Will always fail. It won't keep the light inside the little housing, and so it'll fall out and it'll slip. This one hasn't fallen yet, but basically it'll ding up the light, and these things aren't super cheap, and Another thing I've noticed too, somehow it gets grounded. The reason why I put tape on there is for the grip, and also the metal, it causes it to have this slight glow. Somehow there's some electrical or some electricity getting to the light, so it'll still be on even after you turn off the light bulb. So instead, I get these with these little legs that squeeze into like a little like pincher that's inside the housing. Here, come over here, I'll show you. So you see how this pinches together? And do you see this right here? You just pinch this right into there like that. And if it ever does slip out, it'll get caught and it'll just hang like that instead of falling and hitting some of the head or falling on the car and smashing the car or putting a dent in it or something, which has happened. But a good thing it only happened to the truck and not the Tesla. So I'm gonna wrap this last one up, then we're gonna head to the studio. I'm gonna finish talking to you about why college is worth it if you do this one thing, which is focusing on 3 skills. Let's go. All right, we're back in the studio. Now, before we jump into it, I want to remind you guys that we are sponsored by me. Actually, the valuation spreadsheet that we've been using the past couple weeks in the Saturday live streams to value publicly traded company. Now, basically all I did was I took about 2 years of an MBA program and I condensed it and made it into a simple spreadsheet that you can use to basically upload financial statements and get a fair market value to compare companies based on the current price in the market. And essentially what you're trying to do is figure out if a company is currently overvalued or undervalued. And it helps define whether a company is worth investing in now or sitting on the sidelines and waiting. Jump down in the description, there's a link down below, you can buy it, and it helps support me in the channel so I can buy all this stuff here to continue making good videos. Okay, now let's talk more about the 3 skill sets that I was referring to down in the rental. Now, I kept on reiterating that you should not be going to college or going to get an education primarily for a career or a job. And the reason behind that is because it pigeonholes you. You paint yourself in a corner and you make yourself not very unique and you make yourself very, very replaceable. Anybody and everybody can get a degree these days. And it's not so much the fact of the degree itself that's inherently bad. It's more the fact that you have to pay so much money for that piece of paper. And I know some schools right now, just this past weekend, somebody sent me a school that is charging $72,000 a year for an undergraduate degree. Completely unethical, and I hope that university or that college goes out of business, because to charge an 18-year-old or 22-year-old for an anthropology degree $300,000 is completely asinine. Is that a word? Ludicrous. It's wrong, it's unethical, and it should be illegal. And that's why we have $1.2 trillion in student debt right now in the United States. I could be off on that number, but I'm pretty sure that's the right number. But that's another video for another time. What we want to talk about is those 3 skills and why that's way more important than the degree that you get. And the reason behind that is because you want to be invaluable, unique, and irreplaceable. And you can't get that with just a piece of paper and a ton of debt sitting on top of your head. Now, what I mean by this is that when you graduate with any type of degree or piece of paper, is that you've joined a workforce of millions of other people that probably have your same background or your degree. So let's take example of something that I studied is business. There are literally hundreds of thousands of new students entering the workplace every single year with a business background, whether that's a major or a minor. Now, how do you really set yourself apart? It's difficult to do that. Now, you can do that with internships, you can do it with networking, but really the true way of hitting the core of what to do is to develop 3 different skills that a lot of people can't do. Now, the reason why it's 3 and not 1 and not 2 is because 3 is the magic number that allows you to be super unique. And these aren't just skill sets where you're just like kind of halfway there or you're okay at it. These 3 skill sets, you need to be at like an 80 to a 90% in proficiency. So, okay, I had to take a quick break here because I was in the middle of editing this video and I realized I never actually expanded on what I meant by skill or skill set. So I wanted to take a quick second and give you a couple of examples of what exactly I'm talking about, because it's kind of a nebulous idea to say like, hey, build 3 skills. My bad. Basically, when I talk about the skill sets, I'm not talking about the traditional skills like math, science, social studies, history, that type of thing. What I'm talking about when I talk about skills and skill sets is things that you naturally lean towards that you're good at. So for example, talking to people and making friends is a great skill. Communicating, right? Because that can lead down the pathway of sales or closing deals. And that in itself is a skill. Now, if you like numbers, or you like taking things apart and like you like played with Legos as a kid, maybe you are a builder or maybe you are really good at Excel. And whatever those skills are, It's something that shouldn't be forced upon you. It should be something that you naturally lean into. You get better and better at it. So for example, like a student who's in college right now or thinking about going back to college, let's say that naturally you're really gifted with Excel. And so you drive down that path even more. And then at the same time, you're also really good at making friends and communicating with people. So in that sense, you decide to go down the path of sales. Now you just happen to be really good at sales and closing deals, which is a huge skill set for a lot of companies. But now you're teaming up with your extreme proficiency with Excel. So you're better organized, you can look at numbers better, you can analyze the data way better than any other type of salesperson. But you need a third piece there. And now let's say the third piece is that you are a phenomenal public speaker. You can go in front of people and you don't get gun shy. You have the gift of the gab and you can speak to crowds, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, and you love it, you thrive on it. So now if you look at it, you're phenomenal at Excel, you can close deals, and you're able to speak to large amounts of people or large groups of people. And if you're at an 80 to 90% proficiency in those three things, companies will be fighting over each other to get to you. Now, when I say all of this, I'm not saying go out there and just pick 3 random skills that you really like. So you like to doing push-ups, you like to knit, and then you like to ride bikes. Yeah, those 3 they're technically skills, but they don't really play off of each other and they don't actually expand or bring value to other people. It might make you very happy, which is phenomenal. And so when I'm talking about skill sets, you got to remember it's great to have skills that you absolutely love and that speaks to you. But it's even more important if you're going down this path of success and paying a ton of money for an education, is you got to find skills that are valuable to society in the community. Okay? I hope that makes a little bit more sense. If it doesn't make sense, write a comment or a question down below and I'll answer it for you. Okay, back to the video. All right, let's draw this out so we can visualize it a little bit better. Let's start off with the degree, okay? Let's assume that we're getting this expensive $100,000 undergraduate degree. That's supposed to be a diploma, but it looks like a belt. All right, so you're here on the base, and there's a lot of people who can get access to this, whether it's online school, it's going to a state school, a community college, or anything like that right here. And what ends up happening is that naturally through the process of going to school, people build some skills. Now the problem with that is that a lot of people without intent, they tend to build 1 or 2 skills, but it's always around this 30 to maybe 50% level. And that's where a lot of people sit. And then over the years, they'll probably build more skills or they'll hone in on that 1 or 2 skills. However, if you focus and you hone in on 3 particular skills, you get something like this, where you have this 1 skill, and you get 2 skills, and what this is showing is the number of people that are in your competitive field. 3 skills, okay? Now it's not just the 3 skills that you have, it's how proficient or how good you are. Now as you get to 80 to 90%, you start to see that that realm starts to narrow down a lot, and that's what we're after. We want to be that unique individual that is completely irreplaceable and that you can either start your own business and do really well, or you can take that skill into a company and start a career and build out a very good career and hopefully get paid well for it. So whether you're deciding on whether to go to college, spend that money, ideally if you can get scholarships, financial aid, do it. Otherwise, remember going to college, do not focus on a job, do not focus on a career or even a major. You should be focusing on building 3 skills to a 90% proficiency where you can then set yourself apart from everybody else. And that's the only time college is really worth it. Now, if you found today's video helpful, then absolutely help me out. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, click on that link down below, and buy the spreadsheet to help you value publicly traded companies, and jump in on the live stream on Saturdays and ask me questions and watch me value companies live with you, and I can answer all of your questions. Other than that, I love you guys all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.